The Caitlin Clark push-off situation is something that we have to talk about because everyone is going mad about it.
New footage just dropped, and what it shows will shock you. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball, was double-grabbed, hip-checked, and hacked in a single play.
Just another year and another case of WNBA referees not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
And the refs, they let it happen. But that's not the worst part.
The WNBA is physical, and she just needs to get over it. Let's watch the play here.
To reset things.
As you can see, she dribbles over to the wing, pushes off a little bit, and hits that three. Now, if you slow things down and if you actually go frame by frame, you can see that Pow Pow had two hands on Caitlin. It wasn't just a one-hand hand check. She was kind of grabbing her with two hands.
Instead of calling out the defenders for physical fouls, the internet turned against Caitlin, accusing her of pushing off, flopping, and needing to toughen up.
She's going up against Pow Pow, and she does a step back three, she hits it, but the internet is going wild for this because they are complaining about her pushing off with her left arm.
What started as one missed call has exploded into a firestorm about double standards, bias, and whether the WNBA is even protecting its biggest star. This wasn't just a missed whistle, this was a statement.
This is some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen to not call a defensive foul here. Like, this is not just a hand check, this is a double jersey grab.
WNBA referees that is making it so damn hard for them to make the right calls at the right moment.
And now fans, analysts, and even former players are demanding answers. So the question is simple. Why is Caitlin Clark being targeted? And why isn't anyone doing anything to stop it? What happened next will change how you see the entire league.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clark, guard for the Indiana Fever.
Gets bumped, will take, and hit from three.
The moment the clip hit the internet, it was impossible to ignore. Caitlin Clark, in just her second preseason game of 2025, was swarmed by the Atlanta Dream defense. But this wasn't your average hard-nosed basketball. This was something different. As Clark dribbled to the wing, defender Tahina Pow Pow didn't just get into a defensive stance. She grabbed with both hands, one clutching the side of Clark's jersey, the other yanking at her hip. It looked more like a bear hug than a basketball play, and yet, no whistle.
Caitlin Clark's statue, in order for them to gain separation, they kind of stick their forearm out there because they're getting bear hugged. The other defensive player won't let them cut across to the lane.
Clark tried to fight through it, pulled up for a deep three, and drilled it. But the damage was done, not to the scoreboard, to the narrative.
Not an offensive foul, and if it's an offensive foul, the offensive foul comes way after the defensive foul. Even if it wasn't for the hand, I don't think that that's enough for push-off to call an offensive foul, especially when the defensive player is off balance.
Because the moment this play went viral, fans didn't rush to defend her. They didn't call for fair officiating or demand player safety. They attacked her. They said she pushed off, that she flopped, that she should get used to the W.
Body back. Now watch this. Now this is it right here.
Pow Pow is on her. Pow Pow grabs her hip. You see here. So Caitlin's trying to blow by Tina Pow Pow. Tina Pow Pow is not a good enough defender to play flat like this. Two hands on Caitlin Clark's jersey. Then she goes around the hip. Caitlin shoots from so far back. Oh my God.
But here's the truth. The footage shows frame by frame. Caitlin Clark was clearly being targeted, and it wasn't the first time. The same game showed multiple missed calls.
I don't think the referees can call the push-off. I don't think they can, because the vast majority of the time, the push-off is in retaliation to the hand check, and not even hand check. Like, I'm not joking, literally just grabbing her jersey. Like, people a lot of time have two hands on Caitlin Clark's jersey while guarding her. Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you cannot, if you are going to let somebody guard like this, you have to allow them to push a hand off. You have to let them to swipe through the hands. You have to let them do something.
Jersey grabs, off-ball contact, full court bumps with zero protection. Meanwhile, anytime Clark tried to create space, even with basic moves every elite guard uses, she got whistled, or worse, blamed.
This happens a lot. There's a lot of times that guards are working the defenders off of them, especially if a defender has a hand on their side, on their jersey, on their arm, anything. You are allowed to kind of swipe and get the defenders off of you.
This is where things get messy because for the past year, every time Clark has been roughed up, the response has been the same. It's just physical play.
Caitlin is past Tahina Paupo here. Tahina Paupo is stopping her with her arms. Her arms like this on the jersey, stopping her. There is an arm extension. Because she's in such bad defensive position, is already, look at her where her feet is before the contact. She's throwing herself out of the play anyway.
She was told to toughen up, that this is how the league works, that it's a rite of passage. But when she finally does fight back, when she shrugs off a grab or extends her arm just a little to get separation, suddenly it's too much. Suddenly she's the problem. Therefore, fans started asking, why is the league holding her to a different standard? The numbers don't lie. Clark played just 21 minutes that game and still put up 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. She shot over 50% from the field and 50% from 3.
It is a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing, like they're routine, because nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a flick of the wrist. How easily it looks like she's shooting those threes and hitting those threes in the clip that she's doing it, you know, going to the rack, all these various things that show she's even stronger than she was a year ago. And you see it in the strong numbers. I mean, 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in 23 minutes of action.
That's not struggling. That's thriving under pressure. Yet the spotlight wasn't on her stats. It was on the controversy. And that's when the conspiracy theories started. Fans online began questioning whether Clark was being intentionally targeted, not just by defenders, but by refs, by narratives, by the league itself. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Every great player uses a forearm to create space. Every elite guard sheds defenders with a little shoulder bump. When anyone else does it, it's called veteran craft.
The WNBA referees are terrible. The one-sided calls against Caitlin are so obvious and disgusting. They're ruining the game. If the referees do not get this whole situation together with this Caitlin Clark thing, fans is finna stop watching this sport.
When Clark does it, it's flagged as dirty. Therefore, it's not just about officiating, it's about bias. Clark is the most watched, most followed, most talked about player in the WNBA, and that attention has brought jealousy, resentment, maybe even retaliation. So now the league has a choice: protect its rising star, or let the targeting continue until the damage is irreversible.
She is highly likable. I think that lends itself to her popularity is she comes across as somebody that's really just respectful, likable. There's other players out there that just don't come across that way.
This goes beyond one missed call. This is a league-wide issue. Because if the WNBA can't protect its biggest draw, its most marketable name, what message does that send? Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's the one selling out arenas, the one breaking preseason viewership records, the one dragging a struggling franchise into the national spotlight. And yet, she's getting hacked, grabbed, and shoved without consequence.
She's the only player in the league that gets picked up three-quarter court by everybody. And people are saying it's because of a lack of skill she gets picked up three-quarter court. Absolute madness. Absolute madness. But it's just a crazy situation. And like we all saw, Caitlin did not shoot a free throw. Caitlin got fouled one time against Brazil. And Brazil were hacking her. Like Brazil were literally just going and hacking Caitlin. Every time Caitlin did anything, they were just fouling her. Because they knew they couldn't do anything else. So they hacked her. And like the referees, Caitlin has been on the receiving end of one foul. I'd say she's probably committed 2 offensive fouls, but she has also been on the receiving end of about 8 or 9 defensive fouls over these 2 games. 1 whistle was blown. One whistle was blown.
In her first 2 games of the 2025 preseason, she was fouled constantly. But how many times did she draw a whistle? Once. That's not just bad officiating, that's exposure. The cameras don't lie. Fans see what's happening. And now they're asking why no one in charge is stepping in.
There's only one team that I will say gets a good whistle in the WNBA, and it's the Las Vegas Aces. Heck, the referees literally decided the finals last year. Do we not? We can't forget. The referees decided the damn finals last year. Like, it was literally called because Breanna Stewart caught the ball and did this. So she's about here, catches the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, throws the ball ahead, and then shoots a pull-up midi. Alana Smith gets all ball, foul. Like, and it's mad. There's a lot bigger problems with the referees than a player who gets hacked 94 feet most games pushing off. That's all I'm going to say.
And while Clark keeps playing through it with poise and professionalism, others are watching closely. Other rookies, other stars, kids at home dreaming about playing in this league someday. Because if the WNBA allows this to keep happening to its brightest light, how can it expect to attract the next generation of talent? And what about the Indiana Fever? They've rebuilt everything around Clark. Their offense, their brand, their future. She's not just the engine. She's the spark that makes the whole machine run.
A fan took this like iPhone footage of the Indiana Fever doing a workout after that game against the Atlanta Dream. And it was Caitlin, it was Brianna Turner, Jaylen Brown, and Natasha Howard. They were working out in the hallway and just doing like some simple lifting. And then also you can see here, Sophie Cunningham comes out of the locker room and she is wearing a boot.
But even engines overheat if they're forced to carry the weight alone. The league is benefiting from Clark's stardom, but it isn't protecting her like a star. And that's dangerous. But here's the real twist. It's not just refs letting her down. It's the narrative around her that's making things worse.
Caitlin Clark haters things are so funny. It's like, oh, the only reason Caitlin Clark shoots from 30 feet is because she knows if she tried to shoot from anywhere closer, she'd be found out for a lack of skill. And I'm like, are you okay? Oh, are you okay in the head? And I saw this conversation going on. People were like, being like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, you just said she chooses to shoot from 30 feet because of a lack of skill. And teams guard her 3/4 court. She's the only player in the league that gets picked up 3/4 court by everybody.
Every time she fights through a grab, it's called dirty. Every time she takes a bump, it's dismissed as soft. When she draws contact, it's ignored. When she creates space, it's vilified. It's a lose-lose, and fans are catching on. Therefore, the question becomes, who benefits from this? Who gains when the league's biggest name is forced to play under a different rulebook? Maybe it's the rivals hoping to knock her off her pedestal. Maybe it's the critics waiting for her to stumble. Or maybe it's a system too slow to evolve, clinging to outdated ideas about how stars should act and who gets to be one. But whatever the reason, the WNBA is playing with fire because Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. She's only getting better, stronger, sharper, and if the league doesn't evolve with her, it's going to get left behind.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
So what comes next? Will the officials finally step up? Will the league send a message that physicality has limits, even in the W? Or will they keep letting her get mauled on national television while pretending it's all part of the game? That's the cliff we're standing on, because fans aren't just watching the plays anymore, they're watching the patterns. And if something doesn't change soon, the WNBA might find out what happens when the biggest name in the game starts asking, why am I being treated like this?
Cheryl Swoops just cannot, she can't stop. She can't not try to light a fire involving Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is under attack once again, but this time, it's not just words. It's a full-scale campaign by Cheryl Swoops herself, and the gloves are off. After getting fired from her WNBA commentary job for her repeated shots at Clark, Swoops just escalated things in a way no one expected. Instead of offering an apology or moving on, she stormed onto Gilbert Arenas' podcast, proudly flashing a Paige Buecher's t-shirt, a move so petty, so calculated, it sent shockwaves across the basketball world. On the surface, it looked like support for another rising star.
WNBA Hall of Famer Cheryl Swoops is no stranger to speaking her mind, but her latest appearance on Gilbert Arenas' Gil's Arena show has stirred up another round of controversy, this time for not her words, but her wardrobe.
But dig just a little deeper, and it becomes crystal clear. This was not about lifting Paige up, it was about tearing Caitlin down. The timing, the smirks, the history, it all points to one thing: jealousy disguised as mentorship.
Cheryl Swoops, this is kind of what you get for kind of not jumping on the tide, jumping on the rope, jumping on the boat. You were supposed to go and elevate with this whole situation. Your broadcasting career, everything, Cheryl. Your podcasting, whatever you do, you're supposed to be elevating. But instead, you decided to show hate, very clear hate towards Caitlin Clark.
Therefore, today, we're pulling back the curtain on the real story behind Swoops' ongoing obsession with Caitlin Clark. A story filled with bitterness, fear, and a desperate struggle to stay relevant in a league Caitlin is already reshaping forever. What you are about to see will change the way you view the WNBA's old guard forever.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Clark, guard for the Indiana Fever.
Gets bumped, will take, and hit from three.
At first glance, it might seem strange. Why would a legend like Cheryl Swoops, a pioneer of women's basketball, be taking shots at Caitlin Clark, a player who has only just begun her WNBA journey? But when you look closer, the pattern is impossible to ignore. Swoops' attacks on Clark didn't start after Clark's professional debut. They started long before that, back during Caitlin's record-breaking college career, when she was already smashing viewership records and packing arenas in ways the women's game had never seen before. Swoops watched as Clark broke barriers she once dreamed of. She watched as Clark scored from the logo, shattered scoring records, and brought millions of new fans to the game. And instead of celebrating the sport's evolution, Swoops saw her own legacy start to dim by comparison. Therefore, she made a choice. Instead of uplifting the next generation, she decided to challenge it. She threw subtle jabs, questioning Clark's toughness, her accolades, even her place in the history books. At one point, she even dismissed Caitlin's NCAA scoring records, arguing they weren't legitimate because they came in a different era.
When everybody else, they're quick to throw stats, right? It's like, oh, well, this is what she did. Like somebody's like, oh, Cheryl Swoops only scored 34 points in the WNBA. Caitlin scored 35. So you can't use stats when it benefits you.
But it didn't stop there. When Clark entered the WNBA, the jealousy turned into open hostility. Swoops criticized everything, from Caitlin's playing style to the attention she was receiving.
Statement was, I don't think either of them are going to come into the league and dominate immediately, meaning what they did in college.
Over all of the players in the W.
And the reason why I said it is because you have a player like an Asia Wilson.
When networks began pulling Swoops off commentary duties because of her anti-Clark rants, it wasn't hard to see the writing on the wall.
I won't be missing you broadcasting the games because when you broadcasted the games, it was so hard for you to mention Caitlin Clark. How are you up there talking about, you kept mentioning, oh, the Indiana Fever are doing this. Oh, Kelsey Mitchell and the Indiana Fever. Oh, Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell and those girls are doing. Oh, you had such the hardest time mentioning Caitlin Clark's name. Why? I don't get it. I really don't know.
Swoops was no longer offering critical analysis.
She can't not try to light a fire involving Caitlin Clark. She can't just be good. She made some comments, a month ago on video where she was clearly trying to kiss up to the Caitlin Clark situation. I think we're finding out why now, because we found out yesterday it looks like she's been removed from a podcast which had WNBA branding on it. We saw her get replaced during the Fever game for the Dallas Wings commentary team last year because of words and the hate she had towards Caitlin Clark. And it was just one thing after another.
She was waging a personal campaign, a campaign built on fear that her time in the spotlight was being eclipsed. And here's the truth. Caitlin Clark never asked for any of this. She didn't go around demanding attention. She didn't trash talk the veterans who paved the way. She let her game do the talking, setting rookie records, filling arenas, and delivering historic performances night after night.
Numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And that's what that said. She's Neo, right? Like, they were in the Matrix messing with the machines and stuff before he got there, but they needed the one. And the one showed up, and then it took it to a whole nother level. That's what she is. Yeah. They've been looking for her, and she could bend the spoon. She figured it out. You need a star to break through. Yeah. So I hear what he's saying, because there is some hate. There is some, I don't want to call it jealousy, because that's such an aggressive word, but there is some feeling of, we were here, we were working on this, we've been grinding, we've been playing, we've been hooping, we've been putting out a great product, we just weren't being paid attention to.
But for players like Swoops, that's exactly the problem. Clark is winning without playing by the old rules. She's succeeding without bowing to the legacy gatekeepers who expect deference first and greatness second. Therefore, every time Caitlin shines, it exposes an uncomfortable reality for players like Swoops, that true greatness doesn't need permission. It only needs opportunity. And that brings us to the moment that broke the internet. The Paige Bueckers t-shirt. Swoops didn't say a word. She didn't need to. She let the shirt and all the history behind it speak volumes.
Well, she's doing it again. She's trolling Caitlin Clark again, this time by celebrating the arrival of Paige Bueckers. Now, I've got a theory. Oh, look at me. I'm not really racist because I'm wearing the white girl shirt. You see that?
But what she didn't realize was that the fans were watching. And this time, they weren't buying the act.
A recent episode of the show, Swoops was seen sporting a Paige Bueckers, the UConn star and #1 overall pick, t-shirt. While some might have viewed it as a show of support for one of the league's newest faces, Caitlin Clark fans were not buying it. Clark's devoted following, already sensitive to what they see as a pattern of dismissiveness from Swoops, it's straight up hateration.
On the surface, Cheryl Swoops walking into a podcast wearing a Paige Bueckers t-shirt could have seemed innocent, maybe even supportive. But for those paying attention, it was anything but innocent. It was a message loud and clear. I'll support the new face of basketball, as long as it's not Caitlin Clark.
Interpreted the Bueckers shirt as another dig at the Indiana Fever rookie. The backlash came quickly and loudly on social media, where fans didn't hold back, and they did not.
The timing could not have been more obvious. Just days after more of Swoops' anti-Clark commentary had resurfaced, she needed to do damage control. But instead of offering an apology or even softening her tone, she chose a different strategy, weaponizing support for another rising star to continue her attack. Therefore, she used Paige Bueckers, another phenomenal player, as a pawn in a much bigger game. And the truth is, Paige deserves better than that. Paige Bueckers is a generational talent in her own right. She battled injuries, fought her way back to dominance, and captured the hearts of millions. She is not the anti-Caitlin. She is not a political symbol to be paraded around every time someone wants to take a swing at Clark without doing it directly. But Swoops didn't care about that. This wasn't about lifting Paige up. It was about taking Caitlin down without having to say her name. By wearing that shirt, Swoops tried to send a coded message to the old guard of the WNBA. See, I'm not against young stars. I am just against that young star.
This is the epitome of trolls. She is now using Bueckers to push a different narrative than what she did with Clark. A troll is gonna troll.
It was subtle. It was calculated. And it was pathetic, because fans are not stupid. They can spot fake support from a mile away. They can tell the difference between celebrating a player's achievements and using a player as a prop to continue a vendetta. But there's an even deeper layer to this. Swoops' move also highlighted the ongoing divide inside the WNBA, a divide between the traditionalists who want players to be loud, political, and activist-driven, and players like Caitlin Clark who just want to hoop.
I think one of the main things in this whole thing is when you feel like you're not getting the respect.
Yeah.
And I think when you feel like you're not getting the respect, that's when you tend to say comments that come off as hate. right? And that's what a lot of these women are doing, is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry.
Paige Buchers fits into the activist mold more comfortably. She speaks out on causes, embraces the narratives many WNBA insiders align with, and follows the playbook the league has come to expect.
I never get why Buchers is accepted, but Cece was made out to be a racist. I just told you why. She's a member of that club, all right? So, of course, they just put that arm around her. You get it.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, doesn't chase political headlines. She doesn't align herself with ideological battles. She focuses on the game, her game, and lets her performance speak.
Marketing, and we cannot deny what Caitlin Clark has done for the women's game. I'm not going to act like it's something that we don't see. She's had a huge effect, called the Caitlin Clark effect. Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games? I think we have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else. And I think Caitlin has said that even herself in certain interviews. And I love that. I love that she's not the player who's like, it's all about her. It's not. She's giving love and homage to those of us that have come before her. She shares the wealth with her teammates, and she doesn't have to do that. So I just don't, again, I don't know what the big deal is about the fact that Caitlin is getting a lot of love. She deserves that, and she's helped change this game just as a lot of other players have. But it is what it is.
Therefore, for players like Swoops, that makes Caitlin an even bigger threat because Clark is changing the model of what a superstar looks like. She is proving that you do not have to follow the unwritten rules to become the face of a league. And that terrifies the establishment. So Swoops can wear all the t-shirts she wants. She can smile smugly on podcasts and pretend it is about supporting young women. But fans see it for what it is. An old legend trying desperately to cling to relevance in a new era she no longer controls. The t-shirt wasn't a show of support. It was a white flag disguised as a fashion statement. And Caitlin Clark didn't even have to say a word in response. Because when you are winning this big, your game speaks for itself. At the end of the day, this isn't about t-shirts. It's not even about Cheryl Swoops. It's about something much bigger. It's about what happens when someone comes along who is too good to ignore and refuses to play by the old rules. Caitlin Clark's rise is not a fluke. It's not a media creation. It's the result of relentless excellence, undeniable talent, and a work ethic that leaves no room for shortcuts. She shattered viewership records.
Points by a point guard in a season in WNBA history. Most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history. Most points by a rookie in WNBA history. Most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA. First WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles. First triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history. First triple-double in Fever history. The first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month. First player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds in a game. She won Rookie of the Month 4 times. Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times, single season rookie record for assists, single season rookie record for 3-pointers, single game record for assists 19, franchise record for most double-doubles, 3-pointers, career 10 or more assists in a game, franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game. Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 3-pointers. She did it in 34 games, most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game for which she received the most fan votes ever, 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season regardless of years in the league. People will say, pay more attention to the other folks. Like, she couldn't do it herself. LeBron has teammates, Jordan had teammates. I understand.
She filled arenas. She outsold entire teams in jersey sales. She took a league that was growing slowly and lit it on fire. And she did it without bending the knee to the political narratives, social agendas, or gatekeeper approval that once decided who would be allowed to succeed.
There's a very thin line between hate and facts. And what I believe to be the case is that There was incremental growth in the WNBA comparatively to the exponential growth we are seeing now. What I'm about to tell y'all I haven't heard before, so I doubt you have either. Before the 2023 season, the WNBA had grown by 40% viewership from 2022 to 2023. But with Caitlin Clark's arrival, it's grown by 400% viewership. What that means is if the WNBA were continue to grow at the rate it grew from 22 to 23, it would take until 2028 to do what Caitlin Clark did this year. Okay, now let's not talk viewership, let's talk ticket sales. Bear with me. Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 16% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would have taken till 2029 or 2030 to get to where Caitlin Clark has gotten them today.
Therefore, every bitter comment, every silent protest, every passive-aggressive stunt thrown her way, it all backfires because it only proves how much power Caitlin Clark now holds. The WNBA needed a star who could break through to the mainstream. They got one, but they did not expect that star to write her own story. And while Cheryl Swoops clings to the past, Caitlin Clark is building the future. Every triple-double, every record-breaking night, every new fan tuning in because they heard about that girl who shoots like Steph Curry.
They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing.
And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit.
And she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry. When I look at Caitlin Clark, fans are tuning in to watch her. And you know who that's helping? Everybody else. It's helping the Asia Wilsons. It's helping everybody else, the Plums, all that.
It is all adding up. Caitlin Clark is not the WNBA's problem. She is its greatest solution. The proof is already here. Most points scored by a rookie point guard in history. First rookie to record multiple triple-doubles in one season. Highest single-game assist total for a rookie in WNBA history. Fastest player to 100 three-pointers. Highest all-star fan vote in WNBA history. No narrative can erase those numbers. No bitterness can overshadow that impact. And while the old guard plays politics, Caitlin is playing basketball at a level most of them never reached. Therefore, the WNBA is at a crossroads. It can cling to the past, or it can embrace the unstoppable force that is already transforming its future. Because one thing is clear, the fans have made their choice. And that choice is Caitlin Clark.
Regular season viewership, it grew by 20% in 2023. It's grown by 180% now, which means it would take another 5 or 6 years to do what Caitlin Clark has done. So between draft day viewership, which is up 400% to 40%, between ticket sales, which is up 93% to 16%, between regular game viewership, which is up 180% to 20%, what Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years. So yes, the WNBA was growing before Caitlin Clark. Make that abundantly clear. But it was growing incrementally compared to the exponential growth you're seeing now.
The old playbook is dead. The new era has arrived. And no t-shirt, no backhanded comment, no desperate swipe can stop what is already in motion. As Caitlin Clark continues to break records, inspire new fans, and redefine what is possible in women's basketball, the haters will grow louder. The attacks will get pettier, the jealousy will get uglier, but it won't matter. Because while they are busy plotting their next move, Caitlin Clark is already 3 steps ahead, making history, winning games, and carrying the future of the WNBA on her shoulders without breaking a sweat. And that, more than anything, is what truly terrifies the old guard. Not that Caitlin Clark might fail, but that she is already succeeding. Without them. And she is just getting started.